Myself, Dan Tortora, sitting here with Larry Hama with G.I. Joe, as well as the Avengers, Wolverine, done so many great things over the years, has a great story, got to know him over the last couple days here a little bit better, and truly amazing in the personal life as well as professionally on the pages what you've been able to do. And so Larry, first and foremost, thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you.
Now, to look at, I mean, G.I. Joe is where you get a lot of questions, but I want to go to the 8 years with Wolverine and you writing for that and what you took away from that time period where Marvel gave you the Wolverine comic and said, hey, you know, we don't know what's going to happen with this. Maybe we're going to keep it, maybe we're not going to do it. And you grabbed hold of it for 8 years and kept Wolverine alive. So let's discuss what that was like for you and what that experience was like with a character that's so beloved.
What do you want to know?
When you look at that story and the way that you told it and what you did, how you kept that character afloat when you went through some of those moments where Marvel was unsure of the title, but you were able to make the character appeal to a mass audience, and it was one of the top-selling comic books at the time. So just to look at some of the things that maybe you felt like you did well in that area.
Well, you know, I don't approach doing it as plotting stories. I don't believe in plots.
Yeah.
All I'm interested in is characterization. And I don't know, when I write a story, I'm not even really writing it. I started out in the business drawing comics. And I had to draw comics for 15 years before they ever let me write one. And so I don't know how to write per se. I make up the story as a visual progression in my head, like a silent movie.
Yeah.
And then when I sit down at the word processor, I just describe the movie. And that's the plot that's given to the artist. And then I come up with the dialogue much later. So there's a very different approach to doing the stories than what had been done. And I've been told that a lot of the artists really like working off of my plots because I never did scenes for 5 pages where people are just sitting around and talking.
Right.
And to me, that's what it's all about. That everybody that's involved in it should be having fun, and it should always be a surprise. I had no idea what was on page 3 until I got to page 3. I started out on page 1 and literally did the stories page by page.
And when you look at that, like you had said, and we had talked about it before, that there's those comics where they're talking about everything that they're going to do for pages and pages and pages. You wanted to just get to the point. You wanted to see the action. Wolverine is known for the action, not the words. So what can you say to that storyline? And I mean, that's the way that you like to write. That's the way that you like to do it. Wolverine seems like the perfect character for something like that, for your style.
Well, yeah, but it's also, you have to key up with an artist who can do the acting. The people that draw comics always talk about acting. There's plenty of people that can draw human figures beautifully, and they get down on the page and they just look like dead mannequins. And it's always the same grim expression or whatever, and it's boring. It's just people hitting each other and flying around and looking good and voguing, but there's no inner life to the people. There's no emotional impact, and I think that's really important, because that's what you remember. you don't remember a plot.
Yeah.
You remember that you like the character, and you come back for the next issue because you want to hang out with the character more. So the same reason why you come back and watch the next episode of a TV show, or come back and watch the sequel to a movie you like. I mean, you don't go back and watch like the next Harry Potter movie because you think, wow, the previous one had a really terrific plot.
That's true. You come back for your connection to the characters.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't, you could ask people what the heck was the plot of, the Sorcerer's Stone or whatever, the Goblet of Fire, and people can't tell you. But if you ask them what, who these characters are, and ask them to give you a psychological profile, they can.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of stuff that's plot driven just falls flat on its face.
Yeah. And when you look at not just what you did with Wolverine, but with the Avengers, to go from one character that you want people to be so emotionally connected to a group of characters, what was the Avengers like, and what type of challenges did you feel like you had with that?
Well, I wanted to get away from the whole concept of like some exterior villain or person coming along and trashing the mansion, which was the plot of every Avengers thread in the previous 10 years.
Yeah.
Give them other problems. I mean, the problem they have even with the movies is that, what do you do with these people? Once you had aliens come and destroy all of New York, I mean, what else could you... And that's why their progression was to, pull back from that and have a story about internal turmoil.
Yeah.
It's, Civil War is not having to do with the Avengers saving the planet again from, horrible destruction. It's about, how they deal with real, personal problems and conflict. And that's something you can actually relate, everybody can actually relate to.
Was there a favorite character or a favorite personality or somebody that you, when you looked at the Avengers, was there someone that you really enjoyed, or did you find appreciation for each of them? How do you kind of look at the team itself?
I regret not exploring the character, some of the lesser characters more. It never occurred to me that you could do what you could with Hawkeye, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, because back then Hawkeye was just this guy with this purple mask, and he seemed like a second-rate Green Arrow.
Yeah.
And I thought it was brilliant what they did with the movies and expanding his character. Same thing with Scarlet Witch.
So when you look back on that, you said you would like to have explored more with those characters. Do you have something that you really deem as your favorite, or does it all have a special place in its own? I mean, out of all the work that you've done, do you ever take a step back and you've been on both sides of it. You've been an artist, you've been a writer. So do you have a preference of something you've done before?
Well, the two favorite things that I've worked on, I think, were the Nth Man and Bucky O'Hara. I mean, because they were things that I actually created.
Yeah.
And that I had to create entire little worlds for them. And that's the fun thing, is creating the universe and making it all work.
when you created those, what did you pull from? What was kind of going through your mind, the ideas that you had behind those creations, your favorite creations? What kind of went into that for you?
Well, you know, they're both sort of satires of things that I like. You know?
Yeah.
So the whole trick is to just, you know, riff on the stuff that you like rather than try to like come up with completely new stuff all the time.
So G.I. Joe, obviously on that side of it, here with Larry Hama, you had an opportunity to do something with that. It seemed like when Marvel had a moment of G.I. Joe, or be it Avengers or Wolverine, and they said, okay, we don't have somebody for this, or it doesn't fit, or where are we going to go? They would go to you, and you could keep something alive or create something. With G.I. Joe, faceless, nameless characters, you brought them to life because you gave them personalities, you gave them a name, you gave them a role, you gave them a place in the universe, which has turned into where we stand today, where there's more than one movie, and obviously G.I. Joe still matters to people. When you look back at those characters and everything that you did connected with that, what does that mean to you? Because they have life. I mean, we saw even in the cosplay today that people dress up as these characters they love, characters that you gave names, faces, you know, reasons to connecting to them emotionally. So what does that kind of bring to you when you get to see that, even today?
Well, it just, you know, reinforces my belief that, you know, whatever the job is, you give it your best shot. You know, back then, you know, a toy licensed comic was the bottom of the barrel, and people just didn't care about doing that. You know, they just it was a hack work. You know, and they gave it to like the D-list people. I couldn't get any writing work from Marvel, so I took on G.I. Joe because nobody else wanted to do it. And but I didn't see the point of not giving it the best I could.
Of the characters that you were able to do for G.I. Joe, who sticks out today? Who really just, when you look at the creations that you had, who really just still jumps out to you from the pages?
Well, Snake Eyes, pretty much.
What is it about Snake Eyes? What did you like? What is it about that character that's special, in your opinion?
You don't have to write dialogue for him.
It's fair. It's very fair. Well, because you like the story to tell itself. You like it to see itself, not to talk about it for hours, but to show it. And in that realm, like you said, it was hard for you to get writing work in the past, but to be on the side of it as a writer and as an artist, both sides, what can you say to what you learned from being on both sides of the coin, so to speak?
I never considered myself a writer, and the other writers don't. I mean, you know, all my friends are the guys that draw stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really have any writer buddies. I think they see me as the other or something. You know? I'm not in their camp.
Yeah.
You know? Nothing in common with most writers. I don't think of stories in terms of words.
Yeah. Because you got rid of, you know, the bubbles and doing different things in the comics. Did that turn anybody off, writers that you know? Did it turn them off that your style's so different?
When I started doing G.I. Joe, I got rid of thought balloons, and I got rid of captions. I didn't have captions describing what was going on.
Yeah.
I just had pictures and dialogue. At a time when most of Marvel Comics was very caption heavy. And very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
So I was really going against the grain. But eventually I won because, now, lack of captions and lack of thought balloons is the status quo.
Yeah. So you were doing it before it was popular, but now it's become something that people know. And I mean, it's always difficult to do the unpopular thing and to go a route that a lot of people aren't going. I mean, there's that paved way, there's that concrete way, but you cut through the brush basically. But to cut through that brush, go through the adversity and be successful, but now see it as the status quo, is that vindication? Does that make you feel good that you were willing to go that route when it was unpopular and now know that it's popular today?
No, I wasn't doing it to buck the system or do anything like that. I was doing it because it was the only way I knew how to do it. I think that the reason, the comics were caption heavy and dialogue heavy was that, it was under control of writers. And that's the way, they're like frustrated novelists. They thought, oh, more words, better. And my point of view is, oh, less words, better.
Yeah.
So, never the twain shall meet.
Now, before I let you go, Larry Hama here, outside of the comic book world, you've met a lot of amazing people. We were having dinner last night, and you said that you sat across from Jimi Hendrix. Of the people that you came into contact with, I mean, you had a band, and obviously Jimmy was doing his thing, and you got to meet him, but who sticks out to you that you've been around? I mean, besides Jimmy, who else, or a story about Jimmy, because you've been able to come into contact with very unique people in and out of the comic book world?
It's hard to say, I don't know.
What'd you like about Jimmy? He was rather quiet though, right? You said he was quiet, not on stage, but face to face, kind of kept to himself.
Yeah, he was very shy guy, and actually kind of humble.
Yeah, which is hard to find.
And his stage persona was like totally different from what he was like.
Lastly for you, Larry, what's
same thing with Joey Ramone.
Joey Ramone, okay.
A really sweet guy.
Yeah.
And really smart.
What were those conversations like with Jimi Hendrix or Joey Ramone? What was it about? I mean, was it kind of just about life in general? What do you remember of sitting with him?
I didn't really get to talk to Hendrix a lot.
Yeah.
But Joey Ramone was just like a regular guy. He was a guy from Queens.
Yeah.
Talk about how good the sushi was. Whatever.
Because you got sushi with Joey Ramone, right?
Yeah. So that's it's not like you're sitting there talking about the world situation or philosophy.
Yeah. I like that conversation. We talked about everything last night, right. So we had the world ran the gamut. But lastly for you, Larry, what's on the docket now? What is your thought process now moving forward? What do you like to do? I mean, obviously, I know that you're still, illustrating. That's in your blood. It's something that you love to do. But what is the day-to-day now? And do you have any aspirations or thoughts for the future? Some things maybe that you want to continue to do, or something maybe that you want to challenge yourself with?
I just keep myself open to, everything that's good that ever happened to me was because I took it on myself to get on the train when it came into the station.
Yeah.
The great majority of people, the train comes into the station and they think, well, I got to go to work tomorrow. Or, I got to think about having health insurance, or, and they don't get on the train.
Yeah.
But at every sort of crossroads in my life, I got in an elevator once, and this woman turned to me and said, "Are you an actor?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Do you want to be one?" And I could always trace it back to making some sort of ethical decision that really didn't benefit me at all. If you're always thinking about, like I said, keeping the job or getting the health insurance, you're never going to go anywhere. And if you don't get on that train, you're stuck in that station for the rest of your life. So I'm not sitting around making plans because I don't know which train is coming in the station. But I know that I'll get on it. And that's the best advice I can give anybody. It's like you don't want to wake up, 30 years from now and say, I should have got on that train. And 99% of people end up like that.
Well, coming from Larry Hama, great advice. And Larry and I, we got on the train when it came into the station, so happy to be riding next to you, Larry, and I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Larry Hama, truly appreciate it.